Security is everybody's business. We all must put hands on deck to ensure that we are protected and safe. Security, yes, is the responsibility of governance, but every individual has that singular responsibility to ensure that him or her is safe wherever he is. Welcome to the program. Today, your program Security Watch Africa, only on this channel, African Event Television, will be continuing with a discussion which we started some weeks ago, which by popular demand, a lot of people are very interested. In fact, some have asked so many questions and requested that we continue with this program, talking about looking at the post-traumatic stress disorder. Like someone did say, it's like everybody in Nigeria is suffering from PTSD. We'll be finding out what are these causes and how can it be mitigated or can it be stopped with our expert who is already seated in the studio. I will unveil this expert. Of course, some people already know who I'm talking about because for us in Security Watch, she's one of the best Nigeria and Africa can boast of when it comes to mental health issues. Yes, but before we bring her on, let us go to the Army headquarters where Elizabeth Tanko brings us a report about with an interview with a retired military officer who spoke on what the Nigerian Army had done in the last 1 year. Sit back as we bring you this report.
The Nigerian 1999 Constitution, in Chapter 6, Part 3, Section 217, Subsection 2A, B, C, and D, describes the responsibility of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. Since the advent of the current democratic dispensation, the Nigerian Army, which is a branch of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, has been very busy helping with internal security provision. As at today, the Nigerian Army is visibly in one operation or the other in almost all the states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. To find out how the Nigerian Army fared in 2024, Security Watch Africa spoke with a former director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Sani Kukashika Osman, retired.
Since time, Nigerian Army, alongside other services of the military, are involved in joint internal security operations, in various states of the Federation or geopolitical zones. And the recent of which is Operation Pansanyama, which is more or less like a replica of, the operation in the northeast. And of course, there is Udoka and so on and so forth. So far, so good. I think one important thing that we have to commend the military is, their proactivity in the sense that proactiveness rather in terms of the security challenges. And I will give you an example. Recently, when the hue and cry about the Lapra terrorist group emerged, the Chief of Army Staff personally was there in the affected areas. And of course, that gave rise to other security, operations to deal with that issue. I think we need to commend them. We are not even talking about the sacrifices. And lest I forget, within a short period of time, we have had service chiefs, within the last 3 or 4 years. The Army had about 3 chiefs of Army staff. 2, died on active service. And yet, when you look at their respective visions, talking about, operation in joint environment, they realize that not that they cannot do it alone, but they need to bring on board other, services and security agencies to enhance their performance. And kudos to that kind of synergy of effort, collaboration and cooperation. You know what happened just recently in Zamfara State, where troops were able to, with the conjunction of information and support of the Department of State Services, to recover high caliber weapons and ammunitions. So these are the kind of thing. And so beyond the synergy of effort, even among the security agencies, we are talking about a whole nation approach to, enhance the performance of the military and the army in particular, in the sense that addressing the root causes, infrastructural development, good governance.
The retired army officer, while speaking on the opinion that the Nigerian army seems to be overstretched, opined that as part of the security architecture of Nigeria, the Nigerian army has no choice than to fill in the gap where other agencies are lacking. He advised that there is need for enhanced recruitment of personnel.
I won't say that it's overstretched, but it's being stretched. Yeah, and anybody who knows the landmass, given the areas that the military or the army has to cover in dealing with security challenges, that we need more boots on the ground. And that means we need to recruit more. We still have to commend the military, particularly the army, as it were, because of the effort they have been putting in place, dealing with the security challenges is with insignificant number of personnel that it has. So I think I won't say it is overstretched, but it's being stretched, and I think we should not allow it to be overstretched because we have nothing to fall back on, and that calls for more numbers of the soldiers, boots on the ground, dealing with security challenges, well trained, well kitted, well equipped. Kudos to the government. Recently, a significant number has been recruited into the police force, about 10,000. So we need more of that. But it is not just that. We must have a well-trained, well-equipped police force that will live up to, security challenges of the 21st century.
General Usman called for support from the public, which will help enhance the performance of the Nigerian army.
Well, expectation is just improvement of what we have been getting so far. And even though there were, divergent views about, the support, but I think Nigerians have been doing marvelously well, even though there were instances actually the support is not forthcoming. Take, for instance, there were instances when people see security challenges instead of reporting to the appropriate authority. They will rather keep quiet till the damage has been done. So I think it's not a question of expectation, rather it's an appeal to every Nigerian, whether young or old, man or woman, to understand that dealing with security challenges require collective effort. So it's a collective responsibility. Each and every one of us has a role to play. You might not necessarily have to do, something, that will overstretch you. No, even prayer, even having better understanding and cooperating fully with the security forces and be an active partner in dealing with security challenges. I would like to commend them for the support thus far, but just like Oliver Twist, we need more of it because without it, the military, particularly the Nigerian army, cannot succeed. So we need to support, we need to cooperate with them, we need to encourage them because they are carrying a burden on behalf of the society. For somebody to voluntarily, it need be lay down his life because of you and I think it's something that will need our, support and encouragement.
It is expected that when everybody plays their part in security, the country will experience peace and safety. Elizabeth Thanko, reporting for Security Watch Africa.
Yeah, welcome back. We can't overstress that everyone must play their part in security. To begin this discussion with our guests before unfolding, let me read what a post from a Facebook page, Militainment TV, and he did say, post-traumatic stress disorder is a critical mental health issue that affects not only individuals but also families, communities, and national security. As an experienced military officer, Lieutenant Colonel Suzanne Debal will provide expert insights into the causes, impacts, and possible solutions to PTSD, particularly in relation to security personnel and society at large. That is a quote from Militainment TV, a page managed by a friend and someone who is passionate about security. Yes, our guest today is, of course, I mentioned her name earlier, Lieutenant Colonel Suzanne Debal, retired but not tired. Suzanne Debal, yes, he's a mental health specialist, but let me just unfold this. I know she was, or she is, the first female commanding officer of a all-female battalion, the one-woman battalion of the Nigerian Army, under the Nigerian Army Women Corps. She pioneered that battalion, and working with other senior officers established the Nigerian Women Corps, a corps that we can call the elite corps of Nigerian Army, because they did excellently well. So that is Susan Dibal. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio talking about mental health.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be in here.
All right. Yes, we started the year discussing this with you about 30 episodes ago, and after that, people have been making requests that please, we must continue, and we had to beg. You know, you volunteered to say, look, you create chance, and you flew down just to be in the studio with us today to discuss this. We're also glad that you did that. But let me start from that women angle. In the society, they say women are difficult to gather women together. It's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of stress, a lot of trouble, that women cannot stay together and function very well. But how did you manage it? Because to put together a whole battalion of women, they were all live in. They were not coming from outside. They were all, and you were managing them. That must be a lot of stress. How was it? Let's start from there.
Thank you very much for that question. Really, women are not difficult to control or to command. It is you, the commander. What is the thing you want from this woman? And again, you must not gather women that are not interested. The women I started with were trained special force. They wanted that group. And that is why we got the best out. You don't force people to stay in one place. You tell people why they should be in one place. Give them work to do. And we had so many things doing. There was no dull moment for those women. And again, as the commander, you should create your terms and conditions of the battalion. Give them rules that this is what we want in this battalion. And really, all of them knows that I will be there even when you never expected me to be there, because I'm interested, they are interested, so the two parties work together to get it right.
Sorry, of course I love women, but some say that when you bring two women together, they gossip and they while away time. Did you have to go through such situations?
It is when a woman does not have something to do, or when a woman does not want to put her name on the slate of history, that's when you talk about gossip. But those women want to write their name on the slate that they were the first to be a group of women in a battalion. At one point, we were 620. 2019. When the 300 passed out, we were already 300. We were up to 600. But I bet you, there was no moment, wherever they are today, they may listen to me, there was no moment that it was dull. You were always there with us.
I was always there.
We create activities that makes them busy. And again, it is because people refuse to understand that when you use a woman for your security outfits, you get the best, because they are better information gathering persons, and they have the patience. And again, use them with this cyber security you are talking about. A woman can sit on a computer as long as she wants to achieve what she wants to achieve. Those women were women.
No wonder the chief of army staff then had a whole team of these women as his security details. Okay. Although that is not our discussion for today, but really it's quite interesting looking at that, because from that group you were able to produce the first woman that could drive a whole MRAB all the way from Abuja to Maiduguri.
That is what I'm telling you. That. Give this woman something to do. Tell them they must achieve this. Before you know it, yes. The first time they wanted to start driving, everybody called, Dibal, why do you want this woman to drive? But today, they are the best drivers that you can have and use, willing to work.
Okay. Now, let's come to this issue. At the first episode of this discussion, we did talk about what post-stress disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder is about,
Yes.
and anything that creates fear in the person, and it's what we can call PTSD. But now, let's look at it. What are those causes? What could cause, from your practical experience, because you have, in fact, for more than 36 years, you have been on this journey. What can cause post-traumatic stress disorder?
See, there is no specific thing that you will say this is the cause of post-traumatic stress disorder, but it is an unexpected, sudden stressors, things that comes unknowingly to you. Whatever I will say here is a practical thing I'm telling you. In the field for the military, when an IED happened, it is sudden. He never prayed for it. Neither did he know it will happen. Such stressor lead to post-traumatic stress. For a civilian, within the society, the social problem we have today is a big post-traumatic
The
stress.
high cost of living.
That is not really a high cost
Okay.
of living, but anything that he has not expected that it will. See, the financial post-traumatic stress we have today, that's why you see people walking and talking.
And talking.
And what does that mean? That means post-traumatic stress goes beyond this sudden thing to mental health. If your mental health and your well-being are not together, post-traumatic stress tend to pierce in.
Can people taking stimulant, can it help to manage this? Because as we see a lot of people, when they're a little depressed, they go into taking stimulants and all that.
Okay. When we talk about this stimulant, that's somebody trying to take substance to see that he can subdue his stressors. No, it doesn't help. It leads you to substance dependent. That means you can't do anything without taking substance, and you have now become dependent. Without it, you can't do anything.
And that problem still remains.
And that happens my 4 years in the Northeast. Most of them, because of the fear of unknown, they decide to think about looking for something to suppress this fear of unknown that they have. I can take this to give me energy. No, nothing can take away that stressors when we talk about somebody taking substance to look at the level of his post-traumatic stress. Listen, for the soldiers, post-traumatic stress is real. And when I hear a soldier say, I've been treated, have you really gone through the section with the mental health person or the clinical psychologist? Because the therapist must go through these sections with you. But because our soldiers do not used to have that time, when it has really come down a bit, he feels he's fine.
He's fine.
And he keeps telling
And
people,
he's wanted in the field anyway.
yes, it is because, again, the system, only few people believe that people have post-traumatic stress. As a mental health person, I've heard somebody saying that he's just malingering. See, classify a cause of what someone is with his name than giving what you feel is what that person is.
Yeah, but some people could actually be lazy. For instance, in fact, I don't want to go and do this thing, and they want me to go and do it. Let me just while away time. Maybe that could be malingering.
Not
Don't you
at all,
think
my
so?
dear. Post-traumatic stress, if it is done on you, even the blind man will feel your body that is becoming warm. Talk less of the clinician that sees you and said, this man stressors are many. War is one thing that brings post-traumatic
So,
stress.
at what age can we, not only the personnel now, develop this PTSD? At what age does it come?
There was somebody I was trying to tell. See, even that child that wants to soak breast, that the mother is saying later, that child is under one stressor. Talk less of a human being. Post-traumatic stress does not look at age. It is left for the GP doctors may send you to a mental health person, a psychiatric person, or a clinical, or somebody who has got one area of therapy like me, cognitive behavior therapy. That is your thoughts. Looking at your thought. What are you thinking now? What can I see in you? Giving you time to speak that matters about your post-traumatic stress does not have age limit or anything, especially for women, it's higher than men. There's a study. Yes,
the woman?
A woman post-traumatic stress level. That is why any woman that married a soldier, I respect her. Because her level of post-traumatic stress is even higher than the husband. Yes, because she sees it all. The man sees it in the front line, but when something happens, it boils down on her and the children. So, post-traumatic stress cut across everybody. There's no specific person.
So even the rich and the poor can get that
too. See, the rich are the ones suffering post-traumatic stress silently now. Because the economic, yes, you have the money, you have everything, but again, in the midst of where you have the money, when you step out, you see people with stressors that you can't help. You see people in need of one thing or the other. The violence is there. This violence gets to a woman, rape is there. The kidnapping is there. You think the rich man sit at home, and even if they've done one kidnapping that has nothing to do with him, he can't come out and jubilate because he lives in that community.
Okay. Some have said that we Africans, the black man is a strong man, strong-willed man. Sometimes what troubles the white man doesn't affect us. Is this reality?
It's not reality. Then, because we are contented, our poor fathers are contented. If you are a farmer, you are a farmer. But these days, the young man wants everything
just like that.
Now.
Okay.
And again, why Africa need to look at this post-traumatic stress seriously, it is not just even the stressors of post-traumatic stress, but you hear of suicide. Yeah. It is because no one understands what he's going through. He feels this life, I don't need it anymore. The level of marriage that are separating these days is because I can't endure any longer. But I tell people, the life we live today, whatever you can change, and you force yourself into it, post-traumatic stress will deal with you. Because it is something you can't change at a glance. Post-traumatic stress.
So we can't manage it?
You can manage post-traumatic stress.
Okay.
Because there are clinics and there are people that are therapists, that are counselors, that are willing to take you through this section.
We have it in Nigeria?
We have it.
Because somebody told me that we don't have such in Nigeria.
No, it is because if you have post-traumatic stress disorder, it looks as if you have mental issue. And there is something with stigma of somebody going to see a clinical psychologist, a mental health person, a social worker. There is that stigma. The stigma is within the family. Yesterday, we have to take him to a clinical psychologist. Otherwise, he has started changing his steps. That is it. Because of that stigma that comes with the people who have post-traumatic stress, seeking for help, is killing our system. Otherwise, we have
how tiny is that gap between what we can say insanity and PTSD?
See, post-traumatic stress is a mental issue because at that point, post-traumatic stress is there. Depression comes in. And when you have depression and you have generalized anxiety where everything around you, you want to know how it starts, how it will end. It's a mental issue. That is why I keep saying it. Why our African content is like this is because in the white man world, there are centers of post-traumatic stress that you can just walk in as if you want to buy your grocery and come out. But in Nigeria, it is like in the clinic. The GP doctor will send you to clinical psychology, and it is written there. And people see you going in.
Yeah, the stigma.
The stigma. We need centers. There are centers, but we need more. We need more in the sense that it shouldn't be just for a soldier. It shouldn't be just for a civilian. Anybody who is passing through these stressors should walk into a center
Now, can you tell us briefly what are these stressors that, because you have talked about these stressors, to some of us who may be familiar with it, but some people may not know, what are those things that we could call stressors?
See, anything, let's say sexual assault.
Okay.
This is one that is happening every day in our community, in our society.
No, but does it happen between married people?
It can happen between any other person, sexual assault.
Oh, okay.
And it is common that you can't say it. If you get to the police station, so they will ask you, where were you at that time? That is another stressor, adding to the stressor you have of. Then the war. Today, in our Nigeria, everywhere there is one insecurity or the other. That is another stressor that is affecting everybody within this violence against women. Women are suffering. I tell a woman, don't pray for any war. When I hear a woman agitating, I pity her, because when it happens, it is me and you that suffered because we can't leave our children. That is a big stressor for women. We can't leave our children. No woman will run away and leave. The man may feel, I want to go further and bring safety for my family, which is not true. He may not come back. But a woman may never leave her children, never in any way leave her children to think about torture. These days, little thing you have been arrested, torture is there, terrorism is there. So many things comes to play as a stressor.
Can hunger also be a stressor?
Of course.
Okay.
If I've not eaten for 3 days, it's a stressor, because I'm thinking of looking for food to eat.
Sorry, unfortunately, we have got a signal to leave. I wish you could. Certainly, we are going to continue with this discussion. I would say maybe next week, because people really want to get this.
Problem.
Since we have touched the issue of hunger, which is most Nigerians are talking about it currently, we'll continue with
Hunger,
you. It's a pleasure.
sickness,
It's a pleasure having you in the
Thank
studio
you.
once again.
Thank you.
And,
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Unfortunately, we have to leave, but you join us again next week. Like she has said, we'll continue with you next week. We'll continue with it next week, so we can come to at least a conclusive end to this discussion. Until next week, we'll come your way. I say thanks for staying tuned, and bye for now.